Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
Welcome to Your Town Matters. I'm Nathalie Sturgeon. My guest today is the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me on a nice snowy day and coming over here in St. Andrews.
I mean, it's very cozy outside for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the budget. Let's start with, I guess, the main points for the budget this year.
I guess the main points, and I like to be able to hit them, all the positive points of it. The last couple of years, we have these different tax zones, we call it, tax areas. They were the outside areas, and we had we have 8 different areas. We wanted to make sure the outside areas all were equal at the same rates. They weren't the last 2 years, they haven't been. So you had some areas, their tax rate a little higher, some a little lower, and they're all over the map. Everyone's different. We thought it might be a couple of years before we'd be able to get those numbers the same. We were able to do that this year. And so we were able to get all the tax rate, also all the tax rate on the outside of St. George and Black's Harbour are all the same now, and St. George and Black's Harbour are the only two that are a little different, and hopefully the next goal is to try to get Black's Harbour and St. George closer into a tax rate. That's going to take a little more work, but that's the next goal. This year we're able to drop the tax rates for most areas. So the tax rates have dropped, except for 2 areas. They went up a little bit, but in order to get them all the same, we had to do a little adjusting. But most areas went up. There's only 2 areas that went up a little bit, so we had, in order to adjust everything, to make them all equal. Black's Harbour dropped, I think, 4 cents, and then St. George went down a tad bit as well too. So good news is the tax rates dropped in most places, and at the same time we're able to get the tax areas, the zones, all equal. And that's a good thing to have, everything being equal.
And it's an important step, I guess, toward creating one tax rate for all of these areas.
Exactly. And what we'll do next, and since we've got the numbers all the same, we're going to go to the province and ask them to make it official and to make all the outside areas one zone, so that because we were able to get the numbers the same, so we're asking the province to just make it all one zone, and we'll make sure that the figures stay the same every year. So. Yeah.
Your assessment-based growth was also good. I mean, I think the provincial average was 9%, sorry, and then Eastern Charlotte was 8.9%.
Yes.
What did you make of that?
Well, I think they must. I don't know. The province of New Brunswick is tough to don't know how they do these assessments. It's I've never been able to figure it out yet. Everywhere I go and talk to people, I went to a dinner the other night. My assessments went up real high, and they're all, people were upset because they hadn't done anything to their house. All of a sudden their assessment jumped $10,000-$20,000, and we hadn't done anything to it. But I think it's market driven. I think it's because of if somebody from the area, say from Ontario, moves into your area and pays an exorbitant amount for their house for a lot higher price, it drives the prices up of your neighborhood as well too. So it puts the value of your house up. It's good if you're selling, but not good if you're buying, and not good if you're paying taxes as well too. So it makes it tough. So hopefully to alleviate it a little bit, we've been able to lower the tax rate a bit this year, and hopefully maybe next year, the hopes is to be able to drop it again next year.
And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when assessment goes up, the municipality benefits, but when assessments go up, the property owner kind of doesn't benefit, right? Because they're paying more in taxes.
Exactly.
I guess that speaks to the need for municipal reform in that element, right? It's kind of a fine balance, but you and other councils have been able to lower the tax rate in order to kind of ease that burden a little bit.
Exactly, and I think we can do. I think maybe next year in the next budget. Now this is all up to council as well, but I'm pretty sure there might be a chance they might be able to drop it again next year. So that's something that would be the goal. What we want to do this year is try to get a lot of work done. There's a lot of work that has to be done in Eastern Charlotte. There's a lot of streets in St. George that need some paving. There's going to be a list. The CEO is going to work on getting pricing for different streets to get things paved. Then that'll come back to council, and the council will make the decisions based on the pricing, which ones we do first and which ones we can do. So, but we expect to try to get quite a bit paving done this year, and as well. There's some vehicles we have to buy this year too. We can't let the trucks and all the vehicles deteriorate too much, then it costs too much the next year. So we have to try to buy one or two each year to try to keep our fleet up, either Public Works or the fire department or what have you. So this year we've been able to save some money as well. This year with we changed insurance companies, and we saved almost $100,000 in insurance. So all the different departments will share in that cost savings. For example, the fire department's budget dropped this year, but most of that was because of the insurance and Public Works as well too. The budgets were able to drop those two areas because the large amount of money we've been able to save just because one item, insurance.
Right, and yeah, so the people will see that the fire department saw a decrease, but that's because of the savings in the insurance.
Exactly, and I think a little bit of that too, and it's a tad bit too, is that with the full-time fire chief, he takes he takes the first initial call, and he has a vehicle that he'll go right to the call first. And sometimes there's savings there too, because he can get to the call first and assess the situation. And maybe, geez, we don't need that pumper truck. We don't need 4 trucks coming. Just need 1 or 2. He can assess it right away, and so that there's some savings there as well too, on fuel and the vehicles too. So I think there's where amalgamation has helped, where we can have a full-time chief be the first person to a call and assess the situation very fast. Yeah.
And one of the things that was noted in the budget was the policing costs. So I wanted to chat about that. $2.2 million is a lot of money.
Yes.
And you mentioned to me that it's your highest line item.
It is, yeah.
So what does council feel they're getting for their money at this point?
Yeah, council is very concerned about that. It's a very large amount. Our options are very limited what we can do. We've watched different areas of the province this past year or two. For example, the Heartland area, they spend a large amount of time trying to develop or try to ask for their own police department. And they went through, I could say, over a year work to do that, just to get turned down by the province at the very end. So what we're doing, we're watching other areas of the province, because other areas of the province are in the same boat. We're probably not happy with what we're paying. Are we getting what we're paying for? So everybody's looking at different options. The other option we're looking at too is joining in with Fundy Shores and just see if there's any possibility of working with them on either having our own police department or bringing another department in. Say for example, St. John to come down and do the policing for Fundy Shores, Eastern Charlotte. So we're looking at all possibilities because as a council, the council is not 100% happy with what we're paying, but neither is any council in New Brunswick as well.
Have you heard from constituents about policing coverage in particular? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, all the time, yeah. All the time, yeah. You always get, we're not getting what we're paying for. So I'm not putting down any of the RCMP officers that are out there. It's just the way things are at the moment. It's just everything's gone way up in price, and we just feel that we could do better if we looked at other areas. So we are looking. We're trying our best to do it, but our options are limited. So for sure,
it's a difficult position to kind of be in.
It is, yeah, absolutely. But
yeah. And the other thing that you did this year was you created a public works department. So could you walk me through that and sort of what constituents will see now?
Well, not public works. You're talking Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation, yes. Yeah. Parks and Recreation. In the past, basically, the biggest part of Parks and Recreation is the arena in Black Harbor, the Eastern Charlotte Recreational Complex. And before, the people of Black Harbor were the ones who took the burden of that cost. Now we're all Eastern Charlotte. We're able to have probably 1 to 2 people hired full time, and their job will be in the wintertime. They'd be the arena complex. They'd be working out of there, making sure everything's up and running because it's a busy spot, especially in the wintertime. And in the summertime, that'll revert. They'll go into the ball fields and the swimming areas and work on those areas as well. If you get a full week of rain, they might spend that week inside back in the arena in the summertime. But for the most part, they'll be on the outside areas working working on ball fields and swimming areas, and so they got a lot of work to do in keeping things up, and of course the garden areas too as well. That's one of their areas to take care of. So it's full time, and these guys are busy all the time. Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting for the folks who might want to increase recreation or maybe add some ideas to Eastern Charlotte.
It does. I can say it takes the burden a little bit off. It takes the burden off the people of Black Cyber. Now it's everybody in Eastern Charlotte is going to help pay for the arena complex and can keep that up. And if you have the same people in that department working all the time, you get the better type of professional work being done in the arena too. Because sometimes you're hauled off public works plowing roads. Now you got to run a Zambonis and every so it's not easy. You have to be trained and all that. So now we might be able to have 2 to 3 guys just dedicated to the arena, and that would be their job for the wintertime for sure.
Creates a better level of service.
It does, very much better. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
And I want to talk about housing. So you and I have talked a little bit about this, and you had $200,000 worth of incentives.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you have more. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. Last year we budgeted $200,000 for incentives for building. If anybody came along, they wanted to build an apartment complex in the area, we had money to help them out to make sure that they build it in our area. Well, those buildings didn't get built this past year. They're still working on them. They're still coming. We still believe in this year that they'll come to fruition, and so we put another $200,000 into the pot again. So now we have $400,000 sitting there to help incentivize to bring those apartment buildings to be built in our area. So if anybody's building out there, look at this camera here. If anybody's building out there, come see us for apartment buildings, and we have some money we can help you out and get these things started. I think the province now is actually helping out too with their tax, the way they're doing taxing too. Is now's a good time to build this year. So.
And are there any projects that council is currently vetting or has vetted that they might reconsider, or any projects that you have in the back of your mind that you'd like to accomplish?
As far as housing, you
yes,
mean?
yeah.
Well, you have to remember that we don't do the housing. It's different companies that come in and do it. So we can't force people. We can't force these companies to work faster or try to get these things built. I do get updated probably monthly on how they're doing. Actually, I got a meeting tomorrow morning with the ones supposed to be building in Blacks Harbor. So they're going to bring me up to date tomorrow on where they're at, because there's a whole bunch of, there's probably at least 3 different units that are supposed to be being built in Blacks Harbor. So hopefully they'll be able to get a start this year and get those started. If they do, they'll be able to get into the money that we have put aside to help get these things built. The idea is to get these things built, especially in the Blacks Harbor area, to get them built so that they're not too expensive too. They have to be so that people in the area can't pay real high prices for rent. So we're trying to have it so that when they do move in, that they're not paying the top heavy price on.
Right. You might recall that there's been a recent development in St. Andrews where they put money forward and it was required to be affordable for 6 years past construction date. Do the incentives that you have carry similar requirements?
They can. We have. It's whenever they come to us with what they want to build, we'll look at it and say, okay, here's what we'll do for an agreement. So all those are possibilities for sure, absolutely. I do know the ones in Blacks Harbor are. That's the reason why it's taking so long. Is because these are going to be built with affordable rents, but they had to go through different government programs to get these things built. So when you go through government, everything's a little bit slower. So
the wheels of progress move slow.
It does slow, but if they come to fruition this year, it was definitely worth the wait to make sure that these are affordable for people to be able to move into them. So I expect when it does happen that you'll get people selling off their homes and moving into them, and then you'll have people buying the homes that are up for sale as well too. So I think you get the domino effect this coming year too with that. And there's another unit. Some more units being built, supposed to be built in St. George this year too, and that's on Brunswick Street. So that is I'm being told that's very close to getting started. So hopefully that'll be up and running this year as well. So they'll be able to tap into that that money as well.
How are you making out on the YMCA childcare facility? Are there any updates?
We're nothing really at this point. We're still waiting to get the pricing in, trying to get that pricing down to where it's affordable for us to be able to be partners with it, and we're still waiting for that. So that's where we're at the moment. So nothing new at this point to announce.
Okay, and in terms of the budget, was there anything that council may have wanted that they couldn't get this year that maybe might be on the agenda for the next couple of years?
The only thing that was concern is the what do you call it? I used to call it the unconditional grants.
Yes.
And that was, and they call it the equalization grant now, and that keeps dropping each year. And of course for all the areas. I mean, we started off in 2022. We had $725,000 given to the area to help from the province to help out for the areas. That figure has dropped down to $445,000. So it's a drop of minus 39% now. So that's very concerning. So that's something that we have to try to live within, I guess. The province keeps cutting back all the time. And garbage this year was we were able to save a little bit on garbage. The tipping fees for the Service Commission had dropped this year, so we were able to save probably close to I think around $20,000 this year. So every bit helps. So we've saved a fair amount of money between insurance and then garbage, and like I say, those areas there helped us quite a bit moving ahead. Of course, policing went up a little bit, and I'm just quickly going through here and make sure I don't miss anything. Insurance was the big one. Public Works this year, we are in St. George and Black Harbour, those areas. So Black Harbour and St. George, I just want to make it clear because the people on the outside think they have to pay for that, and they don't. The people of Black Harbour pays for the Black Harbour Public Works, and the people of St. George pays for the Public Works of St. George. So that always will stay that way. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. So have you ever? So you said it'll stay that way. So you won't ever merge them.
I don't see it at this point. They do work together. They share equipment. If the truck breaks down, the truck will go back and forth. Or they're trying to do is inventory too. They have certain things to do with maybe I don't know, shut-offs or different things they have to buy that the Public Works have to keep on hand, pipes or whatever it may be. So now they don't have, each one doesn't have to each carry it. They can combine what they have and just take from one other's inventory or the other inventory. So we can keep the inventory down a little bit. That saves some costs as well too.
And just quickly, the water and sewer rates. I know there was a change in St. George, but not in Black Harbour. Yeah,
Black Harbour will stay the same. We're still working on the water situation in there. That's still a top priority for Black Harbour. So we didn't raise the water rates for that because we do know there's issues going on there. So we didn't want to raise that, and we didn't. And we have another meeting here in a couple more weeks with the engineering company on Globe, and they're going to give us an update of where they're at. They're still trying to find a water source, and we do know that we do need at least 5 to 6 kilometers of new pipes coming from the source into Black Harbour. So once we get all these prices, once we get where we're going to go, we're going to go back to the province, and the province is going to help us out. So we are working on it. It's slow going, I know. It's frustrating. I get calls every so often about an issue, but we are working on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you're going to have funding partners, but are you worried about maybe the costs that might be associated with?
I'm always worried about the cost on anything, but this is something that has to be done, and we believe that the province is 100% on board to help us out. They realize this is an ongoing issue, not caused by us. It's probably from years of neglect, and Connors Brothers, we don't feel that can keep up with it, and if we have to either get our own source or take over their source, whatever it may be, something has to be done. It's got to the point now that it has to happen, and the province realizes that too, and they are going to be on board to help us. As to what the exact figures are not, but they're going to figure it out to make sure that it does get done. We'll worry about the cost later.
And council is feeling supported by other levels of government through this process.
Absolutely, 100%. We're told the province is watching this like a hawk. They're putting push on the engineering company to get this done quickly as possible, so that way they can put the numbers together and get things bought and get things put in. It's not rocket science here. We just know that you have to have a water source. We all know that the pipes from the source into Black Harbour all has to be changed or put all new pipes in. that's what's got to be done. So, and then once we get that done, we'll know we'll have good water.
Speaking of infrastructure, the bridge is open.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, so it was. I believe it was struck in October.
Yes.
And there was damage to the trusses. So, the bridge is open, so that'll alleviate some pressure.
Oh yes, it's been quite a bit. You don't kind of miss it until it's gone. I guess, and that was the thing that people. It was sort of an inconvenience for most people because you have to go down the lower bridge, back up and around in order to go to the other side of town. Of course, the grocery store and the big grocery stores on that side of town, and a few other stores, the dollar store, of course, on the other side of town, the mall, and so people have to stop and think, do I really have to go to the other end of town? Because if not, you have to go all the way out on the highway back around. So, but now the biggest thing was the fire trucks, and now the fire trucks can get across there. There's a fire on the other side. Saves about 10 minutes at least, and so that just the safety aspect of it is made things a lot better, and I feel a lot better now. So that truck, before I had to go out on the highway and back around just to get the other end of town. So I'm glad that nothing major happened. I do know that we had to send trucks at different times a couple of times to St. Andrews to help them out in fires because we have mutual agreements with the other areas. And so, but that meant that the truck had to backtrack and get back on the highway. So now that that's up and running, people are able to use the bridge now. Everywhere I went, everybody's, when's the bridge going to be? So thank goodness. They seem to get done pretty quick, and you can't thank the guys who worked on it, because the guys who worked on it wasn't the very best weather. It was probably very cold and windy, and you're working on a bridge which is wide open, and you have to be careful. You can't slip and slide and fall off. So those guys, really deserve a lot of credit for getting that done, and in the weather they had to do it. So and to thank the province of New Brunswick for making sure that it did get done, and it didn't get put on the back burner, and get it done this summer, and we got it done here in January. So it was good to have it done now. So
bit of peace of mind.
It is. I mean, it wasn't the municipality's issue to speak of, but it was our problem. It's a problem for us.
How that happens sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, we had no say on it. So, or when it could be fixed, we helped. I know our public works guys helped in putting the barriers up, and then as soon as the bridge was ready, make sure everything's all plowed, get snow off to one side, and making sure it was all cleared up. And that's why our guys did help get it open as quickly as they could. But the guys who worked on from the province of New Brunswick to make sure the bridge, they deserve a lot of credit.
I'll turn it over to you for any final thoughts that you have.
Nothing really. It's nice to be here in St. Andrews today to be able to do the interview, to try to get the information out for the people, especially about the budget. The budget was the biggest thing. We're going into the council is working, trying to get a lot of stuff done pretty fast. We've had meetings on economic development. We had that the other night, and we're trying to move ahead quickly with that, trying to take something off the CEO's plate to be able to have somebody come in to do economic development, so that we're looking at that at this point. I had a meeting with the Councillor Thompson, who's in charge of the fire committee, and he's trying to get some prices, trying to get pricing of a new pumper truck and the new vehicles for the fire departments, and so he's working on that. So things are moving along pretty good and pretty fast. You have to get prices, and he'll bring that back towards to council for the final approval. Everything goes back to council for final approval, but Councillor Thompson's working hard on that, so I thank him for that. And the council is trying to meet and try to get as much things done. Now, wintertime is a good time to meet. Not a lot going on, so try to get things done as quickly as possible. The big thing coming up, of course, now we're almost into February, and with Valentine's Day, I have a social on February the 13th to attend. So things are moving along pretty quickly there.
Yeah, the year will pass quickly.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Thanks for coming today, John.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My guest today was the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. I'm Nathalie Sturgeon, and thanks for watching Your Town Matters.